It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
12?
Hey.
Or is 12 what it is now?
Per hour?
Yeah, like minimum wage.
Joey, what do you make? 8? 8 an hour? 7?
But it was lowish. You
Yeah.
know, every 2 weeks I'm getting a paycheck for $300. That was a huge wake up call for my move here.
Uh-huh.
But you know, when somebody's like, "Why is that $5 for a cup?" I'm over here being like, "No, that's how much I make." You know?
Right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
Like, I realized like somebody was rude to me as I was leaving the Philly hotel.
Uh-huh.
It was a barista who was on his phone behind the counter and no one was in there, and I couldn't get out of the hotel door. And he's like, instead of being helpful, walking around the counter or like just maybe changing it up on repeat, he just kept going. Push it and open it. Push it, then press. Push it and press it at the same time. Push it and press it. Like push it and press it at the same time. Push it and press it at the same time. And I was like, maybe if you say it the same way one more time, I'll get it. And so when he came over, I go, I understand you're frustrated.
Good for you.
I'm sorry. You
Good
know,
for
and he's
you.
like, okay, it's fine. But it's like in that exchange, it bothered me. I thought about it over and over and over in my head and what I could have said that was better, because what I said was pretty good.
That is good.
But I thought of what I could do better, and all I could also think was, this is karma for a time I looked at somebody who asked me why it was $5, and I was like, it's direct trade coffee. You know,
You were that person.
it's from the farmer to the bean to the cup. I mean, it wasn't like I was so proud to be part of the company. It was sort of like
the repetition.
it costs a lot because a human picked it, not a machine. You know, I don't think customer service should be hourly. I think it should be how many times you say, "Hi, can I help you?" And once you ding, once you clock like 2:20, you're like, "I'm out, y'all."
Yeah, you could just tap out, go to the back.
Yeah, because it is maddening. But stars would come into there, like definitely celebs, people it was a theme that I would later appreciate them, meaning I wasn't a fan at the time of them coming in, and then later I would watch or know their stuff and be like, oh my gosh, that was cool.
That's cool. I serve coffee.
Yeah.
So you came here in 2011? Oh.
From Chicago, right? Yes.
2011.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, how do we keep track of all the numbers?
I know. Yeah, doing the math is always, that's my motto. Don't do the math. Don't do the math. But I always had the impression that you were, you came out of the ground in Los Angeles.
And just sprouted. Chicago.
Yeah.
Put all my stuff in my mom's old 02 Mercury Sable.
Nice.
The Sable.
And she just let you take it?
She was turning 60 and she was buying herself a new car, a Honda CR-V, and her dad had given her that sable-toothed tiger, and so she said, I'd like to give it to you. And I said, thank you so much. And at the time, things were probably a little tense between us, and
Why?
I was probably less grateful than I could have been. I mean, I said thank you and stuff, but we were just sort of like, I was like, get me out of here. Yeah, put all my stuff in the car, and I drove cross-country with my best friend. I mean, I had saved up the most amount of money I'd ever made, and I can't believe I moved out with what I moved out with.
It's crazy, right?
I never want to be the grandma that's like, well, I mean, I know.
Back in the day.
Yeah, that's like, I moved out here with $10 and a shoestring, or I don't know what that would be. But I think it was like $1,200.
Yeah, and you were like, oh,
this'll do.
I am set.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't even have to worry about getting a job right away.
Right.
Cut to, I got a job the second day I arrived, and I was like, ugh, a little mad about it.
Yeah.
Which sounds bad, but I just mean like, I was like, oh, I thought I'd have some fun first.
Yeah.
Then my first paycheck is $120, and I'm like, we got to get another job. We need another job.
This isn't going to work.
Yeah, and I was lucky to crash with friends for like the first 2 months. I'm like looking back at that, like, who would I ever let stay on my couch for a month? Can't think of anybody.
Now, why is so what's happened to us?
Yeah.
That young, broke
I know
person who could live on $10 a night.
Yeah.
Making it whatever club and then like just crashing and like what happened? Is it just become too tiring, or do we have perspective, or you taste what not living that way is?
Right.
Like,
I think
what
it's
is it?
that, but that's a slow process. I didn't jump into being like, oh, no.
It takes
There's
a
so many
while.
different ways to handle that, because the first time you get an influx of money, you might be the person who like squirrels it away. I might be the person who splurges, but really that means like a pair of shoes, or you blow it all. You're the person that blows it all.
Right.
And
you're the person that blows it all?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm squirrel away.
Yeah.
Or buy a pair of shoes, but
and
sneakers.
one pair of shoes. Yeah.
But yeah, where did that go? I mean, I always say I know too much. There's that. Like I don't like being jaded, but sometimes that is real, and I think that is actually a product of tempering expectations. So the jadedness comes from, I'm on Conan for the first time. I go to Ye Rustic with my friends, and I say to the bartender, or my friend does, like, hey, my friend's on Conan, can we put it on? And they go, no. And I was like, okay, that's how it is here, you know?
Right.
Or the first time I'm near a celebrity or writing on something where they're there, and I'm just like, I'm the person who's like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Or even being in the same green room, I remember at Meltdown with like Bobcat brought Robin Williams, and Robin Williams was one of my heroes movie-wise. I wasn't a stand-up kid, but... And it's like, I didn't say anything to him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to bother. But so I guess it's just sort of tamping down for survival.
Yeah, protection.
And now I have less of like, how cool is it? And it is.
Yeah.
That you asked me to be on your podcast.
Right.
That I'm here.
Yeah.
And I get to be talking to a microphone.
Yeah.
You're giving me the gift of sharing your fans with me.
Right.
I always am appreciative of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just sort of like, I don't know. I don't let myself get as excited. I don't believe it's real.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And sometimes I need to pinch myself and go,
yeah, but you're right. But wait a minute. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Look who I'm with, all that kind of stuff. My wife would always say to me, are you excited about tonight's show?
yeah.
I'd be like, excited?
I'm dreading it.
Yeah. No.
I know that is the weird part too.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, my mom would sometimes, and this bothered me to the point where I said something. She'd be like, "Oh, do you have to do a show?" And I was like, "That's why I'm here." You know, like it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I'm so tired because I worked with 3 jobs that day because I have to go out at night and the nighttime's scary. You know, and I'm like, what do you mean? Do I have to do a show? That's my job.
Yeah.
High roll. You know, your mom.
Yeah, it's weird. Right. Like the perspective of it all kind of changes. Like you're scrambling and scrambling and scrambling, and then you get there's a safety too. Like you get into a way of living where it's like, okay, this is good. So I don't like thinking back. I can kind of compare it to when I had a motorcycle, and I would ride all the time, and it was like it was safe. Every day that I don't get on a motorcycle, it seems more and more insane. Yeah. It's like, what, you just gonna go through traffic
that's a great example.
On this crazy bike? And like my daughter's gonna graduate college and go to New York. And I'm like, how's she gonna do it?
Yeah,
and it's like, I did it. I lived on a bagel a night.
Yeah. I lived on 3 bagels a day.
But now that I'm cushy,
when you work at the shop, you eat company cheese.
Yeah. But then you get that security, and you're like, the idea of looking at her is like being on a motorcycle. Yeah. Right?
No, I think that's a perfect example because like I'm sure you have too. Like I don't make a habit of it, but here and there I've talked to students, either USC or even some from my alma mater. And you know, times have changed so drastically. I have a very different approach to what I say to them. You know, I'm not the scared straight person.
Right.
I'm also the very aware that's like there could be an app called Dingle that comes out tomorrow and I'm opening for you, you know, like, so it's like, I tell them all that and I go, I can tell you what I did, but it doesn't even apply to you. Yeah. I just like me reading, Carol Burnett's book, which I loved One More Time, or, whatever, any comics book I've read. Yeah. I'm trying to think of another one that sticks out to me. Jane Lynch. It's like, I could see how she did it. But then what? Yeah. I'm going to go here and do that. And, you know, like, so if anything, it's like, I love reading comics autobiographies. It's like kind of my favorite. But you have to go, everybody's story is different. That's the takeaway. Yeah. The roadmap's different. And but the anxiety and the performance of it. There was this great book. Do you ever see that book? I think it's just called Comedians. It's just black and white. It's pretty like this. It's this shape. This is getting bigger by the second. It's this shape. It's big. It's like a big, and it's. Who books that? Robin Williams is on the cover,
and it's these black and white shots of the comic, and then their little sidebars of like how they prepare and like all this kind of stuff. It's a beautiful book.
Wow.
It was so meaningful to me as I got it before I was a comedian, and it's just beautiful. Looking through it, I just changed carpet in my office, so I had to move all my books out, and I was leafing through it. 3/4 of them are gone now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
they've
as in past? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like just left or
No. That have passed. But there is that thing, to your point, of like, they're all different. Jerry Lewis, Jackie Mason, Lily Tomlin, and their paths could not be more different.
Yeah.
Completely different. But there's this undercurrent that you so identify with just as a comedian. Like, it doesn't matter that you didn't go play in the Catskills,
right?
and the Borscht Belt and do all this kind of stuff. You still have a little Jackie Mason in you.
That's cool.
It's
It took me
weird.
so long to even call myself a comic. I think that was part of it too. And and there's so many different types of us, especially now.
Yeah.
But there's comics who like are out the gates. Here's my card. I'm a comedian, and they've done 2 open mics.
Yeah.
And there's me who's like, I was on Conan, but I don't know. Should I say I do it professionally? Because I'm still a cafe worker, and and it's like that's annoying in its own way too. Both are annoying.
Both are annoying,
like
but I'm worried that I was
sit up
more that
straight,
way.
lady.
I know, but it was like,
It's annoying. Did you dog ear any comics, or you're not that person in that book?
In that book, no, it was all of them.
Yeah,
it was all of them.
And here's the other. This is me being jaded. I'm like, who wants to hear my process? You know what I mean? And yet I'll have moments on shows with young kids, because I am the kid sister of 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this kid sister mentality, and there's still comics I love and I look up to, and I get to be around them. Like I said, that's not lost on me. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I still try to remain calm, but I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes when I show up to a random show I've agreed to through a random email, some of those young comics are like, you're my favorite comic.
I know.
And I'm like,
you're like,
who are you talking to?
Right, I know.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird to kind of take stock
senior.
of it. Yeah, right, exactly.
And then you're just like a 5th year senior, 6th year senior, 7th year senior, 8th year
Yeah,
senior.
I know.
It's still nice.
Your special was so good.
Thank you.
I do this Sirius XM show, which you were on right when it came out, and we digest a lot of specials.
Yeah,
a lot of specials.
I don't know
which
how
is
you
cool.
do it. It is cool, but it's
you don't get through.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I mean, same. It's as a comic, like the reality is like sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, taste, there's no argument, but also just to get through it.
And then there's others that you turn on, and it just before you know it, you've gone through the whole thing. It was such a delight, and that's what yours was. It was so good.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
I hope you got your. I'm sure I don't even have to ask. I know the response from you just knocking around and running into people. There was no doubt. It wasn't. It wasn't a maybe.
Thank you.
It was really great.
Thank you. I mean, yours are amazing too. I think it's true. Like, I love your style. I love the details you use. So many great descriptors. Like, there's something that you can probably, I don't know. I don't know if we're necessarily similar. Sometimes I have a hard time saying what I am.
Yeah, of course.
Like, when somebody's like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know. Watch it and tell me.
The worst is when you do an interview and they're like, so you're promoting your thing in Denver, and they're like, so what can fans expect on Friday?
I know. I was like, I don't know. I never know the answer.